Hey, how's it going? So, yes, our family got COVID in Hawaii and it's April 2022. So, we're doing okay. We're still recovering. And I just wanted to talk about kind of our experience, what's been happening. Probably going to take a little break on the on the videos for this channel for a little while, just until we kind of all recover. But I hope that this video kind of just serves as a reminder that we still can catch COVID. Just I hope everyone is being safe out there and taking care of themselves just in case. When it comes to what's been happening in Hawaii and like the COVID regulations, there's kind of a lot that's actually been happening recently. I won't go into too much of it. The Safe Travels program being dropped, masks. I know in schools they're kind of figuring out what the mandates are still going to be, lays at graduation, all these different things. There's also a transition right now with the Hawaii Department of Health. I read their plan, their transition plan, which is basically going from like emergency response to more like public health management. And again, this isn't a criticism of that. I know some people say that it's too soon. Other people say it should have been done a long time ago. It's not a discussion on that, but I have been reading up on it just to kind of see where we're at and just kind of how those services or just the systems that are in place are going to affect us or have been affecting us here. But I do want to note that the counts have been going up. They are only reporting it weekly now, so it's not like before where every day they reporting it every single day and we would basically be the top headline. So it's a little tougher to kind of tell what the trend is going to be, but there is an uptrend here in Hawaii, and it's something that I hope people are aware of. And of course, this video is not meant to scare people away from Hawaii. If they want to come, they can come and visit and just make sure that you're safe. This is just our experiences and the fact that we had COVID hit our family so late in all of the things that were going on. So as you can imagine, it's been pretty crazy around here. We have a 2-year-old son and we're expecting a second child. And so I think that's probably been the hardest part. But this all kind of started after Easter weekend. My wife was pretty busy during Easter weekend, and so when she started feeling kind of tired and a little bit sick, I just assumed it was because she was just exhausted, and just fatigue, and I figured I'll just give her a couple of days and she'll be okay. But the thing is, she had this cough, and I think that was a little alarming. She felt a little bit hot, but it was mostly the cough that had me concerned. She ended up taking an at-home test, which proved to be negative, but when things didn't really get better, she took another at-home test, which turned out positive, and then we had another one from a different brand, and that one also turned out positive. For me, I was feeling okay, even though we're in close proximity, but my son, who's 2 years old, he started to get a little bit warm and just a little bit of a cough. But again, we were like, I don't know what's going on. But after the 2 tests were positive for my wife, we decided to go and get tested at Kaiser. And just want to thank Kaiser for just that great service of being a member. They have like a drive-through where you can just go, and it's really nice and easy. And so the 3 of us got tested, and it was really interesting for my young son to get tested because he's never been tested, and they put the thing up his nose, and as you can imagine, it was pretty uncomfortable for a 2-year-old. We got the results back in I don't know how many hours, but less than a day. And for my wife, confirmed positive. My son confirmed positive, but for me, for whatever reason, it was still negative. But I would say that afternoon was probably the most hectic. Again, as you can imagine, a 2-year-old starting to get hot, starting to cough, just not feel very good. And so knowing that he was positive, we just tried to do the best that we could to take care of him. And there was a lot of mess that day. I think he ended up vomiting like 3 or 4 times. It wasn't because of being sick. It was more like he just didn't feel good and he was crying a lot. And I think he kind of just got a little overwhelmed. And when he got overwhelmed, he just kind of spit up. So we're giving him liquids, we're giving him some light snacks. And yeah, it was kind of a disaster. It was all over the floor. And if you see our bedroom, we had to kind of make a little headquarters for him because him spitting up or vomiting, it was just like, oh my gosh, I got to clean the carpets, got to clean the sheets and the pillowcases. And so it's just like, okay, we got to kind of go in emergency mode. And I think it's at that point that I started to feel a little bit sick. My throat was a little bit itchy, it was a little scratchy, but nothing else. So I figured, okay, I'm probably sick too. And so what we tried to do was we resorted to, I know it's very strange, but we resorted to me wearing a mask, my wife wearing a mask indoors in our place. And only that was kind of awkward to have to wear a mask in your own home. But I guess we're just trying to make sure that we're safe. Even though I tested negative, it still could be positive or it could be a false negative. I also had to sleep in the living room. I'll show you where I slept. It's right here. This was where I slept. As you can see, I slept on the couch. That was my blanket, and this was my pillow because my son used all the pillows. And this was also my pillow, which is a bag of rice. But hey, you gotta do what we gotta do, right? And what was great was my mom helped us out. She went grocery shopping and she brought some food for us and some just lunches so we don't have to worry about cooking, which is really great and helpful. I mean, in general, the symptoms for us have been pretty mild. For me, I feel about the same as when I got the vaccinations. Yeah, I got really sick on all 3 of them, and I was out for pretty much a day or 2. And so that's kind of how it feels now, kind of just, body ache and chills and sore throat. And I think the hardest part was watching my son, especially on that one day where he was just crying and vomiting, and it's like we couldn't really do anything. I felt bad. I wish there was a way that I could have explained to him that he was sick, but at this age, he just doesn't really understand that. And as you can imagine, Toddler being sick, he woke up that night maybe every 3 to 4 hours. So I could hear him from here, and my wife went to go and comfort him in the middle of the night. But I'm glad that he, I think, got a lot of rest, because the following day he started to feel a lot better. He looked almost normal, like running around and very active. He wanted to go outside. We tried to explain that we can't really go outside. And I guess for me, it's a little surprising that we got COVID this late in the whole cycle. I mean, it's been about 2 years since this whole thing kind of started, and we're about to have our second kid, and yeah, that's a little that's a little stressful. It's kind of surreal, I guess, because you see the numbers and you kind of don't really put faces on those numbers, and you think, not gonna happen to me, right? And it's gonna happen to other people. But yeah, it happened to us. It's been nice that for my work, I'm able to work from home for a little bit. Hopefully I'll feel good enough that I'm able to return back to work. But in the meantime, it's just being here, taking care of my wife, taking care of my son, and just us staying isolated. I wish I could go out and shoot videos. There's so many things that I wanted to do this weekend and last week, and I don't know, I'll just have to stay indoors and be diligent on doing that. And I'm thankful that the symptoms have been pretty mild for us, all things considered. And I can't imagine how it must be for other families who experience members who have a lot more severe symptoms and have to get hospitalized. And I wish that we had more room to isolate ourselves. I wish I could just be separated from them. But the fact is, I mean, we're in Hawaii, right? The places are not that big unless you have a house, and even sometimes the houses are overcrowded here, but they're not that big here. And so there's no real separation. And so as soon as I found out that they were positive, I just assumed it's just gonna be a matter of time for me. And of course, yeah, I started feeling sick. And so I'll be staying put for a while, but it's okay. I get to spend more time as a family and just make sure that everyone's okay here. And I hope that everyone is continuing to be safe out there. I know it's been a long time, and especially here locally, we want to get back to the hugs and the kisses and the big parties. We got graduation coming up. We have a whole bunch of other things coming up this summer. It's going to be, I assume, a pretty busy summer with a lot of tourists. But this just served as a reminder to me, hey, we're still got this thing, and we just got to be careful, do the best we can, just be aware, and hopefully we all can get through it. So stay safe out there. Thanks for watching, and aloha.